The cafeteria smelled like burnt protein paste and regret. I, Krelnax of the third spiral, stood with my mandibles clicking in what I assumed was intimidating displeasure. Across from me sat the human, Lieutenant Maya Ortiz, and she was eating. Not just eating. Devouring. Shoveling what our commissary generously called nutrient blocks into her face with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for mating rituals or planetary conquests. You understand what I just said, yes? I tried again, my 4 eyes narrowing to slits. The training exercise begins in 40 minutes. Deathworld Protocol 7. Gravity at 3 times your planetary standard. Atmospheric composition that will burn your lungs. Temperature swings that would flash freeze a Valdorian. She nodded, mouth full, and held up one finger in a universal gesture I'd learned meant, wait. She chewed. Swallowed. Took a long drink of something that looked suspiciously radioactive. Yeah, I heard you, she said, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. Sounds fun. Fun. The human said it would be fun. I'd been a drill commander for 17 cycles. Trained warriors from 43 species. Seen cadets vomit their internal organs out from stress. Watched perfectly capable soldiers quit before even stepping into the simulation chamber. And this soft-skinned, fragile-looking creature thought Deathworld Protocol 7 sounded fun? Perhaps you misunderstand the severity, I clicked, leaning forward. My shadow fell across her tray. Last cycle, we had a Crothian participant. 7 feet tall. Exoskeleton thick enough to stop plasma rounds. He lasted 14 minutes before he begged to be extracted. Maya picked up what appeared to be a dessert cube. What's the record? Excuse me? The record. Longest time anyone's lasted. My secondary throat sac inflated with indignation. 2 hours, 17 minutes. Held by Commander Thraxul, who has redundant cardiovascular systems and can literally shut down non-essential organs to conserve energy. Cool. She popped the cube into her mouth. I'll aim for 230. The audacity. The sheer, unfiltered arrogance. I loved it. I hated it. Mostly, I was curious if she'd survive long enough for me to tell her how utterly wrong she was. 40 minutes later, we stood in the prep chamber. Maya wore standard-issue environmental gear that looked 3 sizes too big on her frame. Around us, 6 other recruits from various species checked their equipment with shaking appendages. You could taste the fear in the air. It had a metallic tang. The human was doing jumping jacks. Recruit Ortiz, I barked. This is not a gymnasium. Just warming up, sir. She grinned, and I noticed her teeth. So many teeth. All flat. How did her species even survive with such pathetic dental structure? There will be no warming up where you're going, I said. The simulation begins in Arctic conditions. -70 degrees. Builds character, she said cheerfully. One of the other recruits, a Palaxian named Vorn, chittered nervously. Commander Krelnax, perhaps we should review the emergency extraction protocol one more time? Of course. I activated the holographic display. You'll each have a panic beacon. Press it, and you'll be pulled out immediately. No shame in recognizing your limits. Deathworlds are called that for a reason. How many Deathworlds does humanity have? Asked another recruit, a Silurian whose name I couldn't pronounce without 3 tongues. Maya looked up. Just the one. Earth. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Wait, Vorn's bioluminescent patches flickered rapidly, his species equivalent of a nervous breakdown. You're from a Deathworld? Yep. She stretched her arms above her head, joints popping in a way that made everyone wince. Born and raised. Though I'm from the easy part. My grandma's from Australia. Now that's intense. I'd heard of Australia. In our xenological databases, it had its own threat category. "This changes nothing," I announced, though my confidence had developed a hairline fracture. "Earth may be classified as a Type 4 Deathworld, but Protocol 7 simulates conditions from Type 7 environments. No oxygen. Seismic activity. Predators with acid blood." "Predators?" Maya's eyes lit up in a way that activated my flight response. "Nobody mentioned predators. They're simulated, of course. Hard light projections with haptic feedback. They can't actually kill you." I paused. "They can, however, inflict enough pain to make you wish you were dead." She cracked her knuckles. "Awesome." The doors to the simulation chamber hissed open. Beyond was darkness. Not the absence of light, but the kind of darkness that had weight. Substance. Malice. "Final chance to reconsider," I offered, mostly to the other recruits who looked ready to molt from stress. Vorn stepped forward, trembling but determined. The Silurian followed. One by one, they entered. Maya went last. She paused at the threshold, turned back to me, and winked. Actually winked. Then she walked into hell like she was going to a festival. The doors sealed. I moved to the observation deck where my fellow instructors had gathered. Commander Yalix, a Thoraxian with 17 military citations, handed me a beverage. "How long do you think the human lasts?" she asked. 20 minutes, I estimated. Maybe 30 if she's lucky. On the screens before us, the simulation activated. Temperature plummeted. Gravity tripled. The terrain shifted into jagged crystal formations that could slice through armor. And Maya Ortiz started laughing. Not nervous laughter. Not hysterical. Just pure, delighted amusement as she navigated terrain that had made seasoned warriors weep. "Oh," I said quietly, watching her move. "Oh no." "Problem?" Yalix asked. "I think," I said slowly, "we may have underestimated humans." A predator materialized behind Maya. 8 feet of simulated muscle and rage. She didn't even turn around. Just sidestepped at the last second, letting it crash into a crystal spire, then continued walking while eating something from her pocket. "Is she snacking?" Yalix's voice rose 3 octaves. The human was absolutely snacking. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. Recruits started dropping, hitting their panic beacons, being extracted with expressions of trauma that would require therapy. Maya kept going. Kept eating. Kept humming what I assumed was a human war song. At the 45-minute mark, I realized something that made my blood run cold. She hadn't even started trying yet. Hour 1 arrived like a slap across all 4 of my faces. The simulation had escalated exactly as programmed. Atmospheric pressure that could crush a cargo container. Electrical storms that turned the air itself into a weapon. Gravity fluctuations that made walking feel like swimming through molten rock 1 second and floating through void the next. And Lieutenant Maya Ortiz was doing pull-ups on a jagged outcropping. "Sir," said Instructor ZYLL, a Corthan with sensor arrays sensitive enough to detect a heartbeat from orbit. "Her vitals are barely elevated. Respiratory rate is normal. She's not even sweating." "That's impossible," I insisted, but the monitors didn't lie. Around the observation deck, 12 instructors who'd seen combat across 5 galaxies stared in collective disbelief. On screen, Maya dropped from the outcropping and rolled her shoulders. The simulation responded by spawning 3 predators simultaneously. Protocol dictated they attack in coordinated patterns, using pack tactics that had broken military squads. The human pulled out what appeared to be a ration bar from another pocket. How many pockets did that suit have? The first predator lunged. She stepped left. The second attacked from behind. She ducked. The third came from above, all claws and simulated fury. Maya caught it mid-air, redirected its momentum, and used it as a club to smash the other two. Then she took another bite of her ration bar. "Is anyone else feeling inadequate right now?" asked Yalix quietly. Every appendage in the room raised in agreement. Vorn had lasted 32 minutes before extraction. Respectable. The Silurian made it to 47. Admirable. The record books would be updated with their performances. But Maya was approaching 90 minutes, and she just started jogging. Not running. Jogging. Like this was recreational. Commander Krelnax, ZYLL turned to me, his optical sensors spinning with confusion. "Did you review her file before assignment?" I had. Standard review. Age, 26 Earth years. Military service, 3 years. Physical assessment scores, above average. Nothing that screamed unstoppable force of nature. Perhaps I missed something, I admitted. ZYLL pulled up her expanded file. His sensors dimmed, brightened, then dimmed again in rapid succession, his species' version of a panic attack. "Sir. She's from a place called Colorado. High-altitude region. Less oxygen than sea level. So she's been training her entire life in conditions harsher than our standard stations. Also, she has something called rock climbing listed as a hobby. Do you know what that is?" I had a sinking feeling I didn't want to know. Humans voluntarily scale vertical surfaces using only their appendages. For fun. The observation deck fell silent except for the hum of monitors and the sound of Maya whistling while dodging acid rain. Hour 2. Commander Thraxul's record was in danger. The legendary warrior whose name was whispered with reverence across training facilities. The same Thraxul who'd needed medical intervention after his Protocol 7 run and had never attempted it again. Maya had just stopped to retie her boot. "Should we increase difficulty?" suggested Instructor Heron, a 6-armed Yendari known for his sadistic training methods. "It's already at maximum," I said. "Then increase maximum." I looked at him. "That's not how maximums work. Make an exception." Something in his tone made me understand. This wasn't about training anymore. This was about finding the limit. Every species had one. The point where biology said no further. Where survival instinct overrode determination. We needed to find humanity's limit. I entered override codes I'd never used before. The simulation chamber shuddered. Warning lights flashed. The temperature dropped another 50 degrees while simultaneously spiking the gravity to 4 times Earth standard. Maya stumbled. Finally. The observation deck collectively held its breath. She went down on one knee, caught herself with one hand, and laughed. That same delighted laugh that had haunted the last 2 hours. "There we go," she said to herself, voice picked up by audio sensors. "Now it's a workout." Yalix made a sound I'd never heard before. Looking back, I think it was her soul leaving her body. The human pushed herself up. Stood. Started moving again, slower now, but with purpose. With determination that felt almost offensive in its intensity. "Her homeworld," I said suddenly. "Earth. Pull up the environmental data." ZYLL complied. The statistics appeared on the main display. Atmospheric composition that included oxygen, a corrosive gas most species considered toxic. Gravity at 1 unit, which sounded reasonable until you realized humans evolved to fight it constantly. Temperature ranges from -80 to +55 Celsius. Weather patterns that included hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis. Tectonic activity. Volcanic eruptions. Meteor impacts. And life. Everywhere. Competing. Hunting. Evolving to be more dangerous than the planet itself. "They have spiders," ZYLL read in horror. "Venomous spiders. In their houses. Where they sleep." Keep reading, Yalix whispered. Snakes. Bears. Sharks. Crocodiles. Hippopotamuses that kill more humans annually than most predators. Mosquitoes that carry deadly diseases. Parasites. Bacteria. Viruses that can end civilizations. Stop, I said. Just stop. But I couldn't stop watching Maya. 2 hours, 15 minutes now. She was navigating a collapsing ravine, timing her jumps between falling boulders, moving with efficiency born from a lifetime on a planet trying to murder her. 2 hours, 17 minutes. Thraxul's record equaled. 2 hours, 18 minutes. Record broken. 2 hours, 30 minutes. She'd called it. She'd actually called it, and now she was sitting on a relatively stable platform, drinking from her water reservoir, looking almost peaceful while the simulation threw everything it had at her. Should we stop it? Asked Heron quietly. Can we stop it? Yalix countered. Valid question. The simulation was designed to break participants, not the other way around. But Maya had reversed the equation somehow. She wasn't being tested. She was testing the simulation. At 3 hours, I made the decision. Enough. End protocol. The chamber began shutdown sequences. The environment normalized. Lights came up. Maya stood, stretched, and walked toward the exit like she'd finished a pleasant afternoon stroll. The doors opened. She emerged, suit dusty but intact, face flushed but smiling. Every instructor in the observation deck had come down to meet her. We stood in formation, dozens of species representing the galaxy's finest military traditions, and we stared. That was great, Maya said brightly. When's the next session? I opened my mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. You broke the record, Yalix finally managed. By 43 minutes. Oh cool. She pulled out another ration bar. Where was she keeping these? Does that mean I pass? Pass. She wanted to know if she passed. Lieutenant Ortiz, I said, finding my voice. You didn't just pass. You may have redefined the entire assessment. She grinned, and all those flat teeth were somehow terrifying now. Awesome. So what's Protocol 8 like? There is no Protocol 8, I said. Want me to help design one? The thing was, looking at her eager expression, her genuine enthusiasm, I realized something that changed my entire understanding of humans. They weren't surviving their death world. They were bored by it. That night, I updated my reports with a new classification recommendation. Humanity shouldn't be rated Type 4 Death World survivors. They should be rated Death World graduates. And the galaxy had absolutely no idea what was coming. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.